This is Mike Ryan from the Fastball USA Training Centers. Check out our explosive hitting system at our website, fastballusa.com. Check out our explosive hitting classes, camps, and products. So now we're looking at Ken Griffey's phase 2 when he starts to turn his first movement to the ball. We talked about in phase 1 how the hands get back. Good stretch of the front arm, and we looked at the left arm going back behind him, loading his scapula. So you can see how the hands start to work back. 2, as he starts to turn, as his hips start to turn, he keeps good stretch in his front arm, keeping his wrist cocked, and you start to create what we call that power V angle. And that power V angle is when he gets good stretch across his body, wrist cocked, and the bat is angled back towards his head. This is where you're getting the bat torqued. And when the bat is torqued like that, when the wrists are cocked like that, it's going to, when it finally releases, it's going to snap going forward. And you'll see the snap here. The snap happens going into the ball. But all of that is made possible because he is hands back, wrist cocked here. As he starts to turn, his hands are still back, his wrists are cocked. Notice how his hands are behind his back shoulder and his back hip. The hands are not inside what I call the box, which we see so many hitters do and make that mistake. So he starts to rotate, hands stay back, wrists stay cocked, creating power V, and then the barrel snaps going into contact. Now, contact, you're going to notice from a lower half standpoint, is Griffey goes from a slightly flexed front leg to a braced up front leg. In other words, when he hits the ball, his front leg locks out. This is what we commonly see on well-timed hits, is you're going to see that the front leg locks out at the moment of contact on a well-timed swing. So the front leg goes from flexed to extended or locked out at the moment he hits the ball. The second thing you're going to notice with Griffey's swing is he releases off his back foot going into contact. So you see that front leg bracing and that back foot releasing. The front leg bracing and the back foot releasing going into contact. And that is a very strong contact position. Now with the upper half, again, not only is he braced up on his front leg, so his front leg is extended, you're going to notice that his right arm is pretty straight as well. His right arm is extended at the moment he hits the ball, and his back arm is at roughly a 90-degree angle. So he gets that angle going into contact, and he's making contact out in front of his body. When I say out in front of his body, out in front of his hip, he's getting this ball out in front of his front knee, or in some cases out in front of his front foot, but this one out in front of his front knee right at the moment of contact. So at the contact point, front arm is straight, back arm is at a 90-degree angle, front leg is locked, and he's making that contact point. Now, keep in mind, this is home run derby, right? So it's not always going to look this pretty and this perfect in a game, but this is what we're looking at is arguably the ideal swing. He's trying to hit the ball as hard as he can and as far as he can. And when you look at him going into there, you see the locking of the front leg, the locking of the front leg, the releasing of the back leg, and you can see the extension that he's had. That long right arm maintains almost all the way through contact. He's still pretty long there. Head down on the baseball, of course. And then the final part to this is swing through the baseball. And when he swings through the ball, you notice his barrel doesn't start going this way too fast. His barrel's going through the baseball, through contact. And if you look at this point in the swing, when he's swinging through the ball, you're going to see extension on both arms. You should almost always see the right arm slightly above the left. You should see both arms in the picture when hitters get to max extension, which is what you're going to see with big league hitters as they swing through the ball. And what I mean by that is we don't want this left arm flipping over the right arm too early as a hitter swings through the ball, because that often affects the bat path of, instead of staying long through the ball, what ends up happening, the barrel, if the left arm flips over the right, the barrel is going to flip over as well. So we're looking at this action right there going through contact, getting maximum extension. And now an important thing to understand is when your front leg is braced up, there's a lot of tension going on in the body. When the arms are extended like this, there's a lot of tension going on in the body. The head being right over the back knee, there's balance, there's stability. There is tension at this point in time in the swing. In a sense, the hitter is becoming like a brick wall going into contact and through contact. And that is what we see with the better hitters, is swing through the ball. You become a brick wall going through the baseball. And then the final arc of the swing is the shoulders and hands working together in one piece. Notice how his shoulders keep rotating and his hands work with his shoulders. The hands and the shoulders work together. It is a common mistake that we see where a guy has what we call a two-piece finish, whereas he finishes, his hands go and then his shoulders go. With an elite hitter like Griffey, you're going to see one piece in his finish, meaning as he swings through the ball, his shoulders and hands continue to work to the finish together. In terms of rotation at the end of the swing, we're looking for the shoulders to be completely replaced. Notice how you can see Griffey 24 on his back. So number one, the shoulders should be replaced. Number two, the shoulders should work in one continuous motion, meaning there shouldn't be much stopping going on right here. We need to keep the shoulders rotating through. In other words, we need to rotate through the ball almost in one continuous motion. If we start to see too much stopping at this point in time, you're going to see the hands start to roll over almost naturally. So the shoulders working with the hands is actually a way to prevent rollover. It discourages rollover. But if you get a guy who starts to stop at the moment of contact with the shoulders, the hands are going to keep going anyway. So a one-piece finish is hands and shoulders working together at the end of the swing, and that's exactly what you see Ken Griffey doing.